So, another Criminal Minds. It is episode 8. Season 8, episode 10. Why do I like this? Because for most of the time, we kind of don't, and I kind of do prefer it, you don't really see what's going on, what's truly happening with the criminal. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you get good reasons for it. But with this one, I think it's interesting, because you sort of see, you're not seeing through their eyes, but seeing through their mind. And it's a bit of it, because most of the time, here's reality, here's the world. And what's happening is people are getting, what you sort of realize, and with what I'm saying through the mind, you might notice there's something not right, and it is interesting. And all of it is still left up, even if it is what they originally showed. So you see two people, and they're both working as like, oh, we need to do this, get this through, etc., etc. And you see them sort of performing like a play, like a show. And you see them sort of turning into sort of dolls. You also see them coming back for a more bigger thing, which I will talk about because I think it's an interesting talk. But not right now. Don't really have anything. But one of the things which does come up is them sort of talking and actually having a thing with this one. But let's go back to the main episode. I'll talk about the bigger things, how you had something really fun. But the one thing that's in this episode is just one idea that you see them performing this play. You see them doing this sort of like play. It's not really a play, it's them doing this extra thing and then just being like, we need to save these people, etc., etc., etc. Which I think is really interesting. And when the people comes in, I like that shot of them, because you see this person with sort of this person who is a little bit, I don't know how to say it correctly, because I know some things are like incorrect. I think technically I'm going to use a medical version, which is dwarfism at first. And the one thing I like is that throughout the show you sort of see him as a human. Why do I say human? Because at the end it's revealed as they need to save him. Save him from who? The robber. And he's holding some strings up here to a puppet. Which I do think is really interesting. Because it re-intellectualizes all the other scenes. Because all the other scenes was essentially him with his puppet sort of talking to himself. And you don't think about it. And I like that because it sort of like makes us have this relationship with these two characters. It makes us think about how are these two characters going to solve this solution. Well, not solve, but more specifically, how are they going to do this thing that they're doing, and how are these two characters going to get caught. It's always in your mind, these two characters. But having it being sort of like, this was only one, and they were talking to themselves to sort of a literal puppet, makes it seem interesting. Because you saw that sort of like person talking to them. You literally did see that. That is footage that they showed. But that wasn't real. And I love it. I don't know if that was one of the characters he made or one of the characters his father made, because this whole thing of his characters made puppets and died before telling him the puppets weren't real, which I think is interesting. That sort of implies if something made something and made it sort of like, oh, this seemed real, and then they died, they would always believe it was real, which I think is an interesting idea. But I just like that idea that we soared into the insanity. But yeah, that's why I think this is fun. But yeah, I hope you enjoy, and good night.